husband said I babied our 19-year-old son too much, so I cut him off completely. My husband threw his beer bottle in the sink, pointing at the moldy dishes our son left for a week. He's 19 and you still wake him up for work. Then the real problem dropped when he showed me a text from his girlfriend's mom. She asked if he has special needs because he brought laundry to their house and didn't know which button started the washer. My face burned while I listened to him. You make his appointments, pack his lunch, pay everything while my boss's son just bought a condo. At that moment, our son was passed out on the couch at 2 p.m., Xbox controller on his chest, wearing 3-day-old pajamas. Cut him off or I'm filing for divorce. Seriously, this has gone too far. That threat made something snap inside me. Fine, tomorrow he's on his own, I said. Next morning, our son found nothing but a sticky note where breakfast usually waited. Adults buy their own food. His phone died during his job interview call because I'd killed service at 5 a.m. His interview suit sat soaking in the washer for 2 hours until he needed to leave. When he pounded on my door screaming about losing the job opportunity that paid $25 an hour, I turned up my podcast and grit my teeth. 3 days later, smoke detectors screamed at 1 a.m. because he'd set spaghetti on fire, destroying my grandmother's cast iron pot she'd carried from Italy. I watched him wave a pizza box at the ceiling while pasta flames licked the cabinet. Pasta can't actually catch fire was the crazy thing. My husband laughed. He's learning. Day 5. Our son lost his warehouse job without car insurance to drive there. He had to walk 4 miles in boots that shredded his feet bloody. When I passed him limping through rain, knowing he'd miss rent without that job, I kept driving. Week 2, he sold his Xbox for $150 to avoid eviction. He was down 10 pounds from eating stolen ramen, working 3 jobs including overnight toilet cleaning. I even found him unconscious standing against a bus stop one day. That same evening, my husband left for poker saying, "This builds character," while our son texted, "Whatever I did wrong, I'm sorry." I couldn't see the road through tears. Then the 2 a.m. hospital call stopped my heart. "Your son collapsed at work from severe exhaustion." When I got to the hospital, he told me even worse news. He had moved in with a boy we knew, a dealer we'd protected him from for years. The nurses found track marks between his toes, not from drugs but stolen diabetic Lancets because high sodium from all the ramen he ate made him think he was going crazy. The doctor said another week of just ramen would have meant organ failure. My husband showed up drunk from the late night poker but still annoyed about leaving early. That's when everything exploded. "Where were you?" Our son's voice cracked from the hospital bed. "For interviews? First days? Any day?" The truth poured out. My son listed every abandoned baseball game, every stuck in traffic lie, every birthday his father forgot existed. I'd covered those wounds with band-aids until I realized the bleeding would never stop. The truth sat between us like a corpse. I hadn't been babying anyone. I'd been desperately trying to give my son one functioning parent since his father checked out years ago. My husband stood there in the hospital room swaying from poker night whiskey, finally understanding what he'd done. "Just like my dad," he whispered, the pattern clicking into place. Our son turned away from him. At least mom showed up. The doctor interrupted to say our son needed immediate treatment for malnutrition and exhaustion, plus a $3,000 deposit for the rehab program since he'd tested positive for THC from living at the dealer's house. Insurance wouldn't cover anything drug-related. So the time finally came. I pulled out my phone and showed them both the accounts where I'd been saving money for years. $9,000 I'd put away since our son was little, originally for his college. My husband's face crumbled. "You knew I'd fail him." I did. I'd watched him repeat his father's pattern from day 1. A week later, after discharge, I helped our son move into his studio apartment that I'd co-signed for since his credit was destroyed. In the tiny kitchen, I taught him grandmother's pasta recipe, the one that survived Italy, survived the pasta fire, survived everything. My husband stood in the doorway trying to help, but our son waved him off. "Mom already taught me what I need." As we were leaving, our son stopped his father at the door with one last truth. "You know what's fucked up? Mom had to literally abandon me before you noticed you were never there at all." My husband drove home alone to an empty house.